Hello, thank you for the introduction. I would like to welcome you on my talk, which is called When Less is More. It's about how we applied Pareto rule, some maps, maybe probability statistics in test automation. I'm glad that at least few people are here. When my wife asked me, like, what's the topic, what's the headline of the presentation, I told it's Pareto map statistics. So she told me, you think that some people were coming? So I'm glad that at least some of you came. I am from Avast Software. Uh, when I was creating this presentation, like 3 weeks ago, it was still Avast. But things change. We got merged or bought with Norton LifeLock. So right now we are a huge cybersecurity software house. And I would like to ask here in this audience, how many of you are using at least one of our products or brands? So we do have Avast, AVG, CCleaner, HindMyS. Just try to raise your hand. To looks like about half, yeah. So it means that somehow we still believe that the security makes sense. Uh, Together, for Avast right now, which I still feel to belong to Avast, is we do have about 400 millions customers which are using our products, and somehow we offer them any kind of like cybersecurity protection. Originally, I do come from a Windows division, like as the Windows is the main market for the security. The like other systems like Mac, they do have another mechanism for the security already inbuilt. So all the business about antivirus started with Windows. It's a desktop product, desktop antivirus, and it's being done that it's one core, and on this core there are two brands, Avast and ABG. Future is probably will be also Norton and other sub brands. We are releasing monthly, and we do have a huge beta community. And to this beta community, we are releasing about uh, once in 2 weeks some betas. Testing here in our company is standard testing. We do have new features, so they must be working, and we do have tons, huge regressions. This antivirus business is kind of large and very important for the company. We do have active together on these two brands about 170 million users. I'm in Avast for about 12 years, yeah, and the growth of the company was kind very huge then. When I started working there, we were around 120 people. Right now, we are about 2,000. With Norton, it's going to be 5,000 employees company. So medium enterprise, I would say. Lots of challenges during testing appeared there. Uh, as it was demanded on the market, as we started to release more and more often, so the number of the regressions started to grow up. Yeah, we were still adding new and new features for the security. Yeah. When I joined Avast, there was just a file shield and a web shield supporting Internet Explorer. After the grow after these 12 years, we do have much more security features, much more security layers. And all these layers must be covered by the regressions for every release. What was another big challenge is the decreasing time to market. Yeah, like when I joined Avast, it was like 3 to 4 months to release. Right now, we are in month release doing betas. So there appear a problem. Generally, we do have we did have less time for proper testing. Yeah. Good tester is never satisfied, or should be never satisfied with the quality of the product. There is always can be added more for testing to make sure the product is better. But somehow, sometimes you just simply draw a line and say this is enough. We grew as a company very fast, or as a product very fast, but the problem was people that we were not hiring so many people, and it was because of many reasons. Yeah, the main reason was that it must be like cost effective. I guess that many of you have this problem that you see that it can be added you can do much more with more people. There are these mostly manipulation. Anyway, management was very nice to us because they were telling that we have to keep attention of details. Everything is important. And the thing was that everything had the same priority. So even like the small feature, like for some corner cases, had the same priority. As I said, that we were growing very fast, so we came up to some kind of automation challenges. One of the biggest is the false positives and the environment issues, because like it was a fast deployment of a company, so the network when I started there, it was somehow standard for everyone to have 1 gigabyte network connection. And right now we are 10 gigabits, and we are still edge. So we look like these monkeys that we are thinking like what to do, how can we handle this? That it looked like it's impossible to solve all these tasks, that it should be like fast, and you have to work faster, and it's still pay attention to detail. So how to handle it? And then we started to think that, well, that might be some kind of some solution outside the standard testing world, which is called this Pareto Principle or Pareto Rule. It's 130 years old stuff. There is nothing new on that yet. It has been discovered by this man called Wilfredo Pareto. He was a scientist of mathematics at Lausanne University. And when he studied how workers are working in a factory, so he has found out this rule that 80% of the effects come from the 20% of the causes. It can be found in many aspects of life, yeah, like everywhere. Almost everything what you are doing, somehow, if you start thinking about this Pareto rule, you found out that it's actually the fact, yeah, that 20% of the job what you are brings you 80% the effect. Our question was how to apply it in software testing. I have Googled a lot, and I haven't found any kind of a connection to connect the rule and the testing. We had to look on our product. The reason why the product exists is that it's supposed to protect users from cybersecurity. When you turn on a computer, it's not a reason you want to play with antivirus. Yeah, it's expected. Antivirus protects you. Usually, people open the computer because of the internet banking, Facebook, Tinder, whatever. Not the antivirus. They just want to be protected. If our customers are using our products, so it's just the minority of them. Yeah, as I said, we do have about 170 million active users. But those ones who go to UI are just small millions. They still, some are using it. Sometimes they need to add some exceptions, turn on, do whatever with settings. But it's a comparing to the total number of users which just want to be protected. Number of active users is very small, but still a couple millions. And the last one, the last feature of our product is the source of money for a company. So we are running a freemium model. So if you complain that sometimes our product shows like so many posters or selling stuff, so that's the reason that it's based on a premium model. We are simply trying to sell. There is some kind of a magic behind this, like sales, when to offer whatever. We understand that sometimes it's not good, and we are still controlling. But this is not was the talk about yet. So if we look on our product, we have found categories. Like I start with the most important one. It's the category how to make money. There are ways how we are making money. That part which protects you is the functionality part. Yeah. I say antivirus is here to protect you from modern cyber 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 attacks in the world. And the last or the least important part is that how our users use our product. Let's start with the money makers category. As I said, we are house of brands, so under one core, there are running two brands, two UIs. The top left one is Avast, the bottom right one is AVG. If you look, try to show it on these like green buttons, just sell upgrade or try it free. These are so-called sales paths. Yeah, this is the stuff how we sell and promote our products to the customers to make money. Together in Avast, there is about 300 sales paths like this. So there are about 300 ways how customers can buy the computer, can buy the antivirus. For AVG, it's better. It's only 86. But none of these sales paths are the same effective. When we look on the effectiveness, how much revenue, how much income these sales paths are giving to our company, so we have found out that the 10 sales paths are adding about 80% of the revenue. So the most important sales pass for us is the end of the license. Yeah, we are doing like auto renewal stuff, but lots of the customers, they decide they buy the service for about 1 year and they make a decision if they want to continue or not. So during the testing, when we make sure that this end of the license sales path is being covered, then we are sure that we are securing about 20% revenue from a product. And then we can go down there. There is a path which is called top screen. It's the main screen where when there is this upgrade button right for right now. And by just securing that this top screen works, we are saving company about another 13% of the revenue. So together, we are in about 33% of revenue. And I said that there are about 300 ways you can buy our product. If we cover only 10 of these ways, so we are securing about 80% revenue. The reality is that we are not ending at 80%. We are ending somewhere from 80, 85. Sometimes we are up to 90. The more difficult part was the functionality. Because that with sales pass, it was easy, just like into BI, we saw where we earn money and it was that. But how to make sure that these test cases are the more important ones? How to make decisions like what is more important that should be working and what is less important. So what we have did that we took all the test cases, all the names, the titles of the test cases, and there are some use cases, and we asked our managers, dev leads, we gave them number of the points as the test cases is, and told them, hey, you have 100 points. Add your points to the test cases, and after they edit these points, we summarized all the points, and the test cases with the US number of points were the most important. With the customer path, it was quite very easy. Because we are using Google Analytics and we are seeing how are the users like behaving in a company into our databases. So we just looked into these two tools, and Google Analytics is amazing tool for that. Because you can easily see it, it's the feature of analytics that you see where the users are doing, how they behave, and from that it was very easy to find out what are the main paths, how the customers are using a product, what they are doing, and with the automation using it. Every presentation should have one slide, which is all the presentation above. So I believe the next one is that one. This is the graphical presentation of the 80/20 rule here. I am showing it on a sales pass or on a money makers category because it's the easiest to understand here. On a x-axis, those are the sales pass and the revenue which is ending it. This is represented by the blue line. The red line represents income by summarized having all these sales paths covered. So that's what I was talking about. When we are covering annual license, 20% revenue is being covered. When we are covering plus top screen, 3% of the revenue is covered, and more and more and more up to 80%. The field above the line is the amount of work which must be done to get to 0.80%. What I like on this is that it says that if you want to get from 80% to 90%, that's this point, something around. It says that you have to do twice more work or 2 times more bigger work, and you have about 10% coverage of the revenue. If you want to get to from 90 to 95, that means that you have to do 3 times more the amount of the work you got to 80%. And this chart is very nice for financial people. So they simply start to understand that once they were telling us, okay, if we would like to have like everything 100% covered. So right now they realize that, okay, if it's 100% coverage, which is, I don't believe it's possible to test everything, but we can get very, very close. So that means that the amount of work would be so huge and it would be so expensive. So probably there's a middle line somewhere, I said 80, 89, something like that. How would we, when we started with the automation, how would we like start? The core is to have a sorted list of the test cases and start from the top. Yeah. This sorted list of test cases is the crucial. If you don't have sorted list and if you start with just one test case, this will not work. So, sometimes I heard that the top test case or the top use case is hard to automate. So I told everyone, don't worry that you're gonna get to that. Start with the easiest things for us. So whenever you have a success, it's easy to continue with a success with a good feeling that okay, I start, I have like automation running, I have CI/CD running. Right now, I'm just adding test cases. It's not about it. I am trying for about 1 month and I did nothing because that first test case, which is the most important, is so complex that I'm unable to do anything. So start with success. What I heard from colleagues from another like sub products or sub teams and company that so what is very good to have categories because it's hard to say that just a huge list of test cases and items is too big that sometimes you need any kind of a helicopter or something like that to separate. And also, this is important for the automation developer that they should think that it's not necessary to have covered all the exceptions and stuff. What is important that it's not one-time job. Yeah, product evolves. Yeah, as I said, we are releasing once per month, so it's 12 pieces together. We are adding more and more features. Some features which look to be the most important for a company, like protection for ransomware. Right now, it's just a standard part of the systems are less important. So it's important to see if your list of the tests what you are doing is still valid, if it's still covered, is 80%, and if not, is completely okay. Is completely okay to remove. Another feedback what we got that it's transparent, especially people from the sales when they saw that some of them they haven't realized that there are so many ways how it's possible to buy our product. So they said us that we are glad that we know from you that you are securing the most important stuff, and then the rest can be somehow added. That picture, it's displaying, it's showing people who have tendency for to be perfect, how hard it's to be perfect. Sometimes I'm not so much perfectionist. I'm more like strategist, and sometimes I just see just implementation detail. And when I talk to people who are very like functional, which is important for the testers, but unfortunately this is not this is not what I am. They are trying to be. When we look on this chart and when we say, let's say, okay, where we are right now, be in a 80 or 85, 90, and when he says, okay, we are about 90%, so we both agree that it's not needed to go farther. Some people tend to negotiate, and that's the typical problem for the sales here. Because when we achieved to coverage about 85%, it was like, okay, so we are covering the paths which are giving company about 500,000 bucks. And some people say, hey, but I do have my own path, and which is bringing company about 400,000 of bucks. So it's also important. And we say, well, yeah, might true, but you know that we said like 85% coverage. So sometimes it's hard when you make a decision where to stop. Yeah, and when you make a decision that okay, this is the limit. Be be strict, be hard, and don't try to be much more professional because it costs lots of work and lots of. What is pretty good that is to have it public. In the past, we experienced a problem that we had great as a result, whatever, but they were hidden somewhere in a somewhere CI/CD system, and no one was able to see that. So we have a signpost, which is like publicly available for everyone, and everyone can easily see what kind of scenarios, test cases are being covered and which are not. Couple people told me that, okay, so you are testing only this, and so you are not fully testing the application, so it will not work. I say, yes, you might be right, but probably not, because the main part of the product is being covered. It means that you know that the main part and the core of the product works, and there are probably some lots of edge cases and stuff like that, but it doesn't mean that it's broken. We just make a risk-based decision that we know that this part of the product is not being used so often. So we say we think we accept the risk. This might be working or not, but probability is low. Our experience is that mostly it works. There are no issues in this. Another rest of like 20%. Last but not least, and from my point of view, extremely important part is automation is not everything. I am a huge lover of the automation. I would love to have automated everything. I am a lazy person. I don't like regressions. I don't like things like so. These like too much manual work, but it's extremely important for a user eye, user brain to just check the product. This is even when Marcel had a talk about autonomous testing. I'm usually a huge fan of Marcel. We both agree that it's not the end. It's just a tool which helps, but human effort is needed. Okay, two-thirds of our task already solved. Yeah, the problem was how to handle all the regression, what should be automated or not. But what we still were having, and we still are having, the problem is that the tests are flaky. There are a couple of reasons. There are in bugs, like after some special condition, what's happening inside the system, other some kind of performance or another stuff. Program might be crashing or catching the viruses. But usually the most of the problems of our flakiness is that is the unstable environment. We are running on Windows, and disadvantage of Windows is that there are many versions of the operation system, and as Windows is lots of open, so there are many vendors, the computers, many versions of the first part, like there are many types of the CPU architectures, and it must be compatible with all of them. It's a typical bug for us when the new CPU architecture is being introduced, then we usually go blue screen. With the new architecture, they introduce new code for how to handle the changes and the improvements in CPU stuff, because our engine is not capable of that, so it usually goes blue screen. Now we are solving it, how to find out that if the test, if the false of the test is that it's a real false or it's a false positive, and how to be sure that on the family of the operating systems it works or not. And because I used to study maths and computer science, so I was like always asking somehow how can we use the maths of the statistics or probability, how to decide if the bug is failure or not. The answer for this, that if it's possible, yes, yeah. And we just started with maths. Right now, this is going to be very hard sentence for me to say. Our problem, trying to find out how good quality the build is from the ideal one, is similar to finding the metrics of the lower rank using Frobenius norm. Then using SVD decomposition, Descartes-Young sentence, we already have our results. Do you like these equations? Who understands them? That's the reason why I'm sharing, because I really expect that no one understands it. But do you know election calculator? Election calculator is a tool that if there are elections, like there were elections in Czech Republic last year, and if you are not sure which party to vote, you take about 20 to 40 questionnaire, and it asks you, how do you feel about this thing? Do you want Czech Republic to quit NATO? No, 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 please, 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 please no. So we have taken, we have found out that our problem might be similar to this one. Yeah. In our case, we have standard test cases. Yeah. The test case is being represented by the test case name. There is a version which being added. There can be added addition operating system, and what is important is the weight. Yeah. So, as it was on the first part of the presentation, this was the 80-20. So some test cases are simply more important. So when we have this like more important test case, we edit their weight so it can have a higher impact, this election calculator. And what we had to as another part is that we used to store the result just in a JUnit XML files. Yeah, but if you want to do some kind of calculations, this wasn't be possible anymore. So we had to add this result to any kind of database. For our case, it looked at Elastic SearchDB is that one. We created a server-based application, and this is how it works here. The green circle in the middle is the ideal build. It's the build where all the test cases, test results are passing. Right now, when we run full amount of the tests, it's about per day thousands of test results. It's kind of a huge one here. The dimension, what we do have here is the operating system. You can find there a couple clusters. Yeah, the clusters which are close to the ideal state means that just few of the tests are failing on those operating systems. So probably the products works pretty well on these systems. The farther the circles are from the ideal, it means that more tests are failing, or probably the more important test cases are failing there, because those circles are in a different kind of way. So that means that different test cases are failing. We are running all these calculations for every version. The top right column called quality is totally experiment. Yeah, we still don't trust it too much, but it's just experiment that we are trying to count that based on a Hamming distance, how far we are from the ideal state together. So far, it looks that when we achieved in 95% of success, or this like quality score, we might say that the quality of the build is good. This is still not enough, because like it's just like pure mathematics. There is nothing smart behind it. Our goal is to start with machine learning or some kind of AI, but how to get there? The fact is that we need to feed the algorithm with lots of data. Unfortunately, because of this marriage with Norton, so right now all the improvement of this application had to be stopped, and we believe that it's going to be survived, but we'll see. This was the last slide of our presentation.